What is this really about with Senator Josh Hawley, pretending that he doesn't understand the anatomy of the human being, and that trans people can't give birth, and therefore a man can't have a baby? I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand simple anatomy. But there's more at play here. I've been thinking about this. This is about control. This is exactly the same as the abortion ban. This is about men controlling women. And if it turns out that there might be men having babies, oh, well, that changes things, doesn't it?
You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing them.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide. So I think it's important
because of my line of questioning? So we can't talk about it?
Because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist
I'm
is
denying that
dangerous.
trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancies?
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can get
So
pregnant.
you are denying that trans people exist?
And that leads to violence? Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you?
Absolutely.
Or are they also treated like this, where
No,
they're told that they're opening up people to violence?
We have a good time in my class. You should join.
I bet.
You might learn a lot.
We live in an imperfect world, and the rest of the world has actually moved on. It's only America that's still having this debate in this childlike way. Josh Hawley's baiting and loaded questions and, oh, well, no, only women. I mean, come on. You don't have to be a genius to see what's happening here. This is a play. This is a grift. This is Josh Hawley playing to the gallery, to the camera, riling up his base so he can be seen as somebody who's taking on this woke movement on the left. Well, I've got news for you. There are 1.6 million trans people in the United States of America, many of whom are probably Republican, many of whom may be Christian, many of whom don't fit into your ideal, your perfection, where you crave everybody to be white and male and heterosexual and cis and Christian and God-fearing and conservative. Not everybody is as perfect as you, Josh Hawley. Well, I have news for you. I didn't choose to be male. You didn't choose your gender. And trans people do not choose to be trans. It's very difficult to be a trans person. I grew up with trans people. It's very hard to exist in a society, in a culture, where there are people like you, Josh Hawley, spewing transphobia in this way, denying the existence of trans people when there are that many literally on your doorstep. We really need to change this rhetoric, and I'm very pleased that Khiara Bridges, the law professor that he was interrogating at this hearing, stood up to him and called him out for his transphobia, which leads to violence. I'm Anthony Davis. You can hear me every day on the 5 Minute News podcast and on the weekend show with MeidasTouch.